Hey guys, long time no see. Today is July 24th and I have not recorded or posted or anything in about 2 weeks. I was pretty disappointed about that, but life is crazy right now, and if you watch these consistently, you'll find out later what's going on. But anyways, today I want to talk about this book. This book is amazing. If you are interested in psychology and how the brain works, or if you're interested in dieting and fitness and like why we overeat or anything like that, this book is for you. There's some sciencey stuff in there, so if you like don't know different parts of the brain, you will learn about it, but it's a very good read and I highly recommend it. And right now I'm gonna go through my key takeaways from like each section, and yeah. So this is The Hungry Brain, Outsmarting the Instincts That Make Us Overeat by Stephan Guyenet, I think. Okay. First, I want to say that like the first chapter kind of talks about how your metabolism is fluid. So whenever you're based on your environment or like life stage or anything like that, like an increase in calories intake doesn't always necessarily mean an increase in weight, but it can. So your metabolism adapts. So say you increase your calorie intake, eventually your body weight will increase, and that increase in tissue on your body, whether it's muscle or fat, does increase your energy expenditure, and eventually that will be your new baseline at that new body weight. And so your metabolism kind of fluctuates upwards and downwards, so it's the same thing. So if you're eating this many calories and you restrict your calories, lose weight, your metabolism is going to come back down so that this is your new normal. Eventually, there's different processes and things and systems in your body that will try to bring you back up, but if you can get your body to normalize here and be in homeostasis here, that would be your new normal. But anyway, so your metabolism is fluid. And then we talk about the chemistry of seduction in food. So how we have sensory specific satiety. Satiety is, it's not fullness, it's satiation. So where you're done eating, you don't have like necessarily, your stomach isn't distended, you're not full, your stomach isn't like packed with food, but you're done eating, like you're satiated. But we have sensory specific satiety. So that's why you can eat dinner and be full, but if the waiter comes or the server comes and says, would you like to see the dessert menu? And you're like, ooh, yes, like I have a second stomach for that. That's what that is. And it's also known as the buffet effect. And why when you go to a buffet, you overeat substantially because there's so many options and you eat small amounts of so many different things versus eating one normal portion of one thing as you would at a normal restaurant. The chapter 4 is called the United States of Food Reward, and it's a quote directly from it is saying, our innate food preferences are commercially exploited by concentrating and combining properties that we most find rewarding, resulting in foods that are more seductive than what our ancestors would have encountered. Our environment now is so different than what our brains were designed to handle. So the food industry takes advantage of that, and that's basically kind of my takeaway from that chapter. And then in regards to the economics of eating, the next chapter, we often make decisions that pit our present selves versus our future selves, and that we often shortchange our future selves because we're making a decision between our non-conscious brain and our conscious brain. So non-conscious is going to be more intuitive, an immediate reward, like what is your body telling you or your brain telling you that you want right now, versus being more rational and conscious and like thinking through long term. When we see a pastry at a coffee shop, we're not really thinking long term. Like long term, like, oh, do I want to spend that $3 and possibly go against my health goals in purchasing this and eating it, or do I want to have some sugar and everything like that right now? depending on like where you are as far as hunger levels, your brain will probably push you to want to purchase and eat that pastry because it's an immediate reward. And a study that, like, if you've ever taken a psychology class you know about, is the marshmallow test. And they kind of talk about this, how like delay discounting is like a characteristic that shows people who value long-term goals are usually more successful and usually maintain their weight, are not overweight, and usually live a healthier lifestyle. So delay discounting and the marshmallow test is where a researcher has a kid sit in a room by itself, by him or herself, and they have a marshmallow on the table, and they say, if you wait 15 minutes and don't eat this marshmallow, we'll give you 2. And so they're just studying what the kids do, if they eat it or they don't, if they wait for the second one. And the kids that do wait for the second one are the ones that are more likely to be more successful later in life and have healthier lifestyles. And kind of counteracting that, and a suggestion that the book makes, is called episodic future thinking. So whenever you're in a situation where you're pitting your future self versus your present self, to picture yourself in the future enjoying a birthday or vacation or reaching a health goal, and thinking about that and how enjoyable that will be, and then making your decision. Thinking about that and picturing yourself in the future causes your brain to weight the future more heavily in the decision-making process. Then we talk about the satiety factor. Satiety is greatly influenced by leptin, which is a hormone that your fat tissue releases. And so whenever you lose weight, you have less body fat, and so leptin levels are lower. We have a lipostat in our hypothalamus, which works like a thermostat in your house. So whenever you set the thermostat, say to 74, if the sun is coming in and the temperature in the house is coming up, then the thermostat is going to pull that temperature back down by the AC turning on. Or if it's cold outside or whatever and the temperature starts to drop, the heat's going to kick up and bring it back to 74. So that's the same way that your lipostat works in your hypothalamus, based on leptin levels. So whenever your body fat decreases, your leptin levels decrease, and your hypothalamus causes other hormones to be released and different systems in your body to react to that, to increase your motivation to eat, or to decrease your metabolism, or what have you, to bring your body weight back to here. These are short-term reactions. If you do lose weight and you're able to maintain it and create a new homeostasis, you can manage to keep weight off. But that's like a long-term effort, and that's not typical weight loss. And so the implications of that is, I'm reading directly from like page 134. The first is that once a person develops obesity, it becomes a self-sustaining state, and that person has to overeat to feel the same satisfaction that a lean person feels after eating a smaller meal. In essence, once we gain weight, the lipostat becomes one of the primary reasons why we continue to overeat, undermining our conscious desire to be lean and healthy. The hypothalamus doesn't care what you look like in a bathing suit next summer, and it doesn't care about your risk of developing diabetes in 10 years. Its job is to keep your energy balance sheet in check, in the black, and it takes this task very seriously because it is essential for survival and reproduction in the time of our distant ancestors. The tools at its disposal, including hunger, increased food reward, the slowing of your metabolic rate, are extremely persuasive. And when your hypothalamus is squaring off with your conscious rational mind, it usually wins in the end. This doesn't mean dieting is hopeless, but to be successful, it's important to understand, respect, and work with what you're up against. The good news is the lipostat responds to the cues we give it through our diet and lifestyle, and we can use this to our advantage. So, dieting is not hopeless, but your hypothalamus and your brain doesn't like it. Appeasing your hypothalamus, avoiding calorie-dense food or highly rewarding food, which is pretty self-explanatory if you think about it, will help appease your lipostat if you're dieting to lose weight. So avoiding highly rewarding food such as pizza, ice cream, tortilla chips, all the good stuff that you shouldn't be eating when you're trying to lose weight in the first place, but I say shouldn't, air quotes. Diet and palatability and low reward value may lower your adiposity set point as well. So eating more whole foods, more simple foods may help lower that set point. So there's also a set point theory that kind of ties into this, that your body kind of has this happy set point, and you can maybe like fluctuate like 5 to 10 pounds either way, but that your body is always kind of trying to stay at homeostasis right here at this point, and that you'll kind of always come back to that, whether you overeat and then your body suppresses your appetite so you come back to that, or whether you undereat, your body increases your metabolism to come to that. And so that's where like short-term dieting kind of has its pitfall, is your body's trying to maintain homeostasis. So whether you lose 5 pounds, it's gonna be hard to keep it off. So you have to work really hard in that maintenance work until it's your new homeostasis. Next chapter talks about the hunger neuron in more different parts in your brain. Repeated bouts of overeating don't just make us fat, it makes our bodies want to stay fat. So kind of like how whenever you gain weight over the holidays, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, that weight stays with a lot of people. And this is in part because excess leptin may contribute to leptin resistance. And so whenever you are obese, you're leptin resistant, which means your body needs high amount of leptin to recognize that you're not in a starvation mode. Leptin doesn't just correlate with the body fat levels, it also correlates to short-term changes in calorie intake. So in that period of a couple weeks of overeating, maybe from Thanksgiving to New Year's, your leptin is very high because you're pretty consistently overeating, and then you kind of have that short-term leptin resistance, so your body doesn't recognize that you are overfed, and you have like your normal hunger cues because of that. And so that's how the weight stays on. You overeat and then you eat your maintenance calories so that excess calories doesn't get burned off. To recap what we've talked about so far, I'm reading from page 159. We overeat because we're surrounded by seductive, calorie-dense food. That's a great deal. The food's high reward value increases the set point of the liposat, though not necessarily permanently, and this further facilitates overeating. At the same time, overeating itself spikes leptin levels and injures the hypothalamus by a mechanism we have yet to nail down, likely involving diet quality in addition to quantity. These two simultaneous hits cause the hypothalamus to lose sensitivity to the leptin hormone, meaning that it requires more leptin and therefore more body fat to hold off the starvation response that drives us to overeat. This time, the increase in your set point is permanent, or at least difficult to reverse. The lower limit of your comfortable weight creeps up. That's like a sciencey way to explain how over the years you can say gain, like, it doesn't seem like you're gaining weight, but you looking back, you're like, man, I've gained like 5 to 10 pounds the past 5 years. That's how I got to this body weight. This is spiking your leptin, and then increased leptin facilitates overeating, which in turn damages your hypothalamus and increases your set point. Dun dun dun! This is the end of part 1. You're gonna have to watch the next video to find out the rest of the book, and if you're doomed. Just kidding, you're not doomed, I promise. But yeah, end of this video, watch part 2. Thanks so much for watching so far. I hope you're learning.